So what is the most important skill in the golf swing? I think many of us would say shallowing the club, rotating the hips, but you've forgotten, or actually I should rephrase that, you're forgetting one thing. Your ability to understand how you square the club face. And today I'm going to show you exactly how you can bring back this feeling. You can educate your hands to get that club face pointing back to target. By the way, I can't believe it is the 7th of December. That is mad. It feels like it was summer 2 days ago, and it definitely doesn't feel like summer now. Okay, so let's sort of talk about grip to start with, because how we hold this golf club has a massive effect on what happens during that release. So if we sort of link this to ball flight, many of us have been in that situation where we've either been losing that ball miles out to the right or hooking that ball miles out to the left. Neither are very nice, but what we've probably done to try and fix this is change our grip. So let's take a slicer of the golf ball. Massive left to right for a right-hander. You probably had what is a weak grip, and you've tried to make it a little bit stronger. Now, by doing this, you're getting your club face to point, well, closer to target, because you're increasing the likelihood of that club face to rotate through impact due to how your hands are on the golf club. Let's take the fact that if you've been hooking it, you probably had a really strong grip. And by the way, both of these shots are terrible. You probably had a really strong grip. So you've tried to make it weaker to reduce that club face rotation through impact. Both are really good ways of fixing a bad ball flight. I'm not saying they're wrong, and I've definitely used those methods before. But I want to talk about using a neutral grip and giving you the chance of consistently being able to square that face and have it pointing to target by educating your hands properly. Okay, get down in those comments, because I think that most of us have been in that situation, and let me know if you have. Right, so the method that I want you to learn today is by using what I like to see as a more neutral grip, which you can see on the side of the screen here, and it's really simple just to take this grip. You're going to place the club at the base of the fingers, allow the meaty part to sit on top, and when you're looking down, you should have 2.5 knuckles on your glove hand and both creases on both hands pointing into your right shoulder. So I want us to learn how we can square this face by allowing the left hand, your glove hand, for a right-handed player, this would be the opposite for a left, to be your guide of how you square, and your trail hand to be your power. Okay, so we want to have an understanding of what needs to happen to educate our hands to square that face. So there's one very important thing you have to understand. Your club face is always in a relationship with your club path. So if you're swinging a little bit to the right, we want our club face to point a little bit to the left to get that ball to curve back. If you're swinging a little bit to the left, you want your face to point a little bit to the right to get it to curve back. Now, in my experience, for most golfers, if we just learn to square our face to target, we tend to get better results. So this is just a way of educating a release. Once you've learned this, you can start working it relative to your club path and trying different feelings. That's about educating it. But right now, you have to understand how you square it relative to target, okay? And this is the drill you want to use. I am excited to share this with you. This couldn't be any simpler. So just place 2 T-pegs down the ground and use the line on your golf ball to sit in between them. Now this line on your golf ball is going to act as a square edge you're either going to use to match your top edge of your driver with, or the leading edge of an iron to know if you're squaring this face. So if I'm to stand behind the golf ball now and I created a ball to target line, this ball to target line would sit at 90 degrees to the lines that I'm using on the golf ball. So we know in the past you've gone down that route of sort of changing and fiddling with that grip, but I want you to trust me on this. I want you to use the grip that I'm telling you to use right now, so a nice neutral one, okay? And we're going to start educating your hands correctly, because we all know in the modern game we want a little bit more body motion and a little less hands doing the work, and we all know stronger grips tend to see a little bit more of a roll release. More neutral grips tend to be able to have a good blend of arms and hands and body, which I think for most club golfers, this is your most consistent route. So just go ahead now and address that golf ball. Now, if you're doing this with an iron, you would just feel like your iron's going to press down into this turf. With a driver, you're going to do the same things here, but you're going to come up and match it just above it, because we know bottom of the arc once happened before with a driver. I'm going to crush down with an iron. But I'm going to do this with driver because I think most of us aren't going to go down that route. So address that golf ball. I just want you to swing back to hip height and move through. And I want you to start training and matching the top edge of that golf club over that golf ball and make them parallel. Make them both point straight towards camera here. And just have a few reps feeling this. Now, you'll notice here, I'm not just stood here with my hands, I'm making it a fluid motion with my arms, my hands, my lower body and my upper body. I'm creating a move. Now, if we're going to educate these hands correctly, we have to understand, remember, power, guide, power, guide. So I'm just going to park my golf club on the side here for a second, place my thumbs out in front of me. I want you to understand that this is what we're trying to feel. This motion. So you can really see that as I come into the golf ball, my lead wrist is a little bit flat, my trail wrist has a little bit of a cupping nature. Now, this is good, isn't it? This is loads of power, but we need a little bit of a guide. So I want you to feel that your motion is this. Look what I'm doing here. Now, I said with driver, you're trying to square this face above it. With an iron, we're trying to hit down on this. And I want you to get the understanding, the skill I'm trying to teach you today is your ability to square this face more often. And being able to do that is using the arms, using the body and the wrists all in conjunction with each other. Just keep creating these feelings. Okay, well look what's happening here. Look what position my lead is, look what position my trail is, look at my body, look at my hips. Well, okay, I'm really starting to educate these hands a little bit more here. My club face is traveling a little bit more constant for longer. It's not massive roll, massive guide. I'm really starting to tell you now how you're going to educate this. So really simply, start down at the golf ball, both lines parallel and matching, taking your nice neutral grip, just go back, educate. Arms, body and wrists all working together. And this is your best way of firing the body, squaring that face and starting to play some much better golf. So how do you take this to the golf course? It's probably one of the hardest things, but don't worry, it's not now. I would simply just tee it up using the lines on the golf ball as you did on the drill. So when you're addressing the golf ball, you know your club face is square and you know where you're working back to. Trust what you've just learned. I promise you, you're going to square the face more often.